Hey, how's it going? And today we are exploring iClone 8 and creating a basic scene and looking at how we can adjust lighting settings to our advantage to really try to blend the character into their environment and hopefully create something that looks good. So to do this, I'm just going to start from scratch and go to new project. For this tutorial, I'm just using a Mixamo character to get away from the stock iClone characters. And I have to say, one of the really good things about iClone 8 is how well it plays with other software programs. It's to Real Illusion's credit that they make it very easy to bring assets in and export assets out. To make sure we're all starting on the same page, we're going to go to Windows Standard, and hopefully this is what your screen looks like. If you don't see the grid, you hit Control G, and just for me, but I find it hard to work in 3D programs without a grid. So this grid will not show up in the scene. So the other thing that gets to me sometimes is there's so many windows here, I don't feel like I have much real estate to see things with. So just for right now, I'm going to close out these windows, and they're very easy to bring back. But I prefer more of this expansive view if I can, but I realize it's going to get crowded. And then to navigate the viewport, all I'm doing, I like to press Alt and then with my right mouse button just orbit down. So this viewport, what we're looking at here, this is what I'm used to seeing. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and import that Mixamo character. And like I said, this is an example of how well iClone works with other programs. So I'll come up here to File, go to Import, Import astronaut looking guy. I think it looks really cool, and I like that his face is hidden, so I could add in a voice without having to worry about lip sync. So we're going to bring him in, and then we're going to go over some things that I found confusing, and maybe this will help you. When you see this for the very first time, you might be excited and go, wow, he came in and he's even animated. He's doing the animation perfectly. Everything's great. But the question in my mind is, where's the lighting coming from? So if I hit Alt and orbit around here, I don't see any lights in the scene or anything, but I can see he's fully lit. So in my mind, when I bring him into a scene, he is going to have, in a sense, unmotivated lighting because he's going to be lit from unknown sources. So what is lighting him, and where are all these lights coming from, and how can we blend him into the scene? So what I'm going to do is go back to my window now and go into the standard workspace, and then I'm going to click on scene here. And if we just take a look right off the bat, we can see there's a whole bunch of stuff going on that's being hidden from us. He's got a key light, a side light, and a backlight on him, which is traditional 3-point lighting. So he's already got 3 lights on him. If we click these, we can see the gizmos. But what I would prefer to do is just turn all those lights off together to start with. And let's just bring him into the scene with no lights on him. There is this skylight, but it seems to be more of an effect. So if we toggle this on, you'll see how it kind of overlays on the scene. And I believe this is used to create lens kind of effects and things like that. So I'm just going to turn that off. There's no reason for us to be seeing that. So let's just now go into content. And if we go to 3D scenes, mesh medium, there's this one called Ruin City that I really like. So I'm just going to go ahead and double click on it. And just like that, we have him in this scene. But I have to tell you, when I look at this scene, as nice as it seems to be, it doesn't feel like he really belongs here. He seems like he has been placed in the scene, and maybe he got out of a spaceship and that's why he doesn't match. But the truth is, we really want our characters to feel like they belong in the environment that they're in, and I think it's because of the way the light's interacting with him. The light seems to be interacting with him in a way that it's not interacting with anything else. And so, to me, it kind of pulls him out of the scene, and he doesn't really seem to blend in. Fortunately, with just a few adjustments and playing around, I think we can make it really look good and blend him in. So the way I see this scene is that he's too well lit for the scene. and it's not really clear what's lighting him and why he's so light compared to everything else that we look at in the scene. If we look at the rest of the scene, it just doesn't seem like, I don't really see shadows coming off of other stuff too much. I just see shadow off of him, kind of a soft shadow. So anyway, one of the key points I hope you take out of this is that volumetrics is good and less is more. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go into the scene here, and we're going to click on light here, and that's going to bring up its properties over here. And there's some settings here that can really help us make this look a lot better. So let me give you one quick example of something. If I hold the mouse button and I click around here, we can get a really great shot of that sun coming through. You see that? And how it's catching the volumetrics there. What a great shot. And from this angle right here, see how well he blends into the scene? But we've got a lot of stuff going on. We've got this lens flare going on. We've got the shadowing going on. But what we have more than anything right from this angle is the volumetrics. But look, when I tilt down and get away from that, look how the difference. It doesn't look that good as this looks. And it's the difference is the volumetrics. So that's what we're going to try to fix. That's what we're going to be adjusting. And for this, we're just using our eyes and our judgment. So there's not necessarily any right or wrong in this. How you think it looks good may not be how I think it looks good. There's no definitive right or wrong here. These are just some settings we can adjust to make things look better, I think. So one of the key ones here is this multiplier. If we pull it down, see how it's going to soften up a little bit. It's not so bright, and I think that helps. Not all the way, but just a little bit, because you figure we're in late afternoon. He's not, and if I bring it up, see, looks terrible. So just bring it down a little bit there. And then anything related to volumetrics is good. So, and shadowing. Let's see. On the darkness relates to his shadow. So like if I bump that up, that really hardens his shadow, and that doesn't look good at all. So we'll keep that like that. And this says volumetric light, so that's a definite yes, we want that. And we can unlink this one because I notice when I bump it up, it kind of increases some volumetrics just a little bit. So I think that's a plus. This one really seems to make a difference here. That brings up the volumetrics quite a bit. And what you can do just to kind of see this is if we scroll and look the other way, we turn around and look back the other way, you see how it's looking now? So whether I have that light, now if I come down, you'll see the difference. It remains that volumetric-y, but it really blends him into the environment. That's a plus, adding this. But you know, however you feel is too much, too little, I think maybe like that is good. So that's a big setting there. The medium density multiplier with the volumetric light on. And let's see. Oh, this is really cool. So if we look at the ambient inclusion, which is indirect soft shadows, if we click this button, we can see them. So all these places is indirect shadowing. And you'll notice if we take that down, see, I think the more ambient inclusion there is, the better he's going to look. He's going to look more defined in the shadow areas, and I think that's a huge, huge plus. So if we scroll down even more, there's this image-based lighting. So there's some lighting coming in here. I don't think, let me turn this back to normal here. I don't know that this is really adding that much. So if I turn this off, you can see just subtle lighting effect that we're getting off of here. See? So I think we're better off without that. So I'll just turn that off. And just straight away, I think he looks a lot more a part of the scene than he did. And a lot of it just has to do with that volumetric scattering. If that's too much, but to me, those atmospherics are what really tie him to the scene. The shadow ties him to the scene, and these volumetrics tie him to the scene. And it just really looks, I mean, it just looks 100 times better, I think. So anyway, that's all I had for today. I hope you found this helpful. Just learn to trust your eyes and go in and experiment with the settings yourself and get them to a point that you like it. But if you look at a lot of movies that have a great cinematic look, you'll see they have a lot of times they'll have volumetrics in them. They would go through movie sets like on Blade Runner with like the beekeeper's smoke and add that to every scene in the movie, and that gives the texture to the lighting and really just makes it look 10 times better. So anyway, that's all I had for today. I hope you found it helpful. Take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.